Greetings from planet Oz. Hey friends, Oz here, and I am super stoked about this topic. I really like it. This topic is Akashic Evolution. What is Akashic Evolution? This is really fun. I find this fascinating. Akashic Evolution is basically this concept. It's sort of an esoteric look at a slightly altered version of evolution, but it's different in a very important fundamental way. And but before I get there, I'll just quickly, if anyone's unfamiliar with the Akashic record, this is said to be the non-physical hard drive database data recording. It is an information field. It is a field of information that permeates the entire universe and contains all of the information about it and necessary to build it or destroy it or whatever. It's all everything you could ever want to know, information-wise, is stored in the Akashic record, according to esoteric texts. So anyway, take what resonates. But so this Akashic record, information field, it is permeating everything. It is permeating you. It is permeating the planet. It is in all the animals and all of the plants. And you could go out, fly out to the center of deep space, and it's going to be there. It's everywhere. It's absolutely everywhere. So how does this relate to evolution and this theory? Well, to just quickly encapsulate the material evolution theory to show the key distinction. In material evolution, the material is all here, and the blueprint for how the entity is to evolve, or the blueprints for all life, for that matter, are stored within the living beings themselves. So everything about each individual creature's own evolution and what it needs to do and where the cells need to go and how the organs are organized and all of that is all stored within the creature. It's in the meat somewhere. It's in the mind or in the DNA or whatever. But it's all carried within, and then it unfolds. So in the Akashic evolution idea is a little bit different in that the first part's the same. The material part is the same. So the material component in both cases is that material that exists within the environment, and that is the material that is the blueprint uses to build the entity. So in either case, when you're looking at the material aspect of it, that much coincides. The earth has all of these various material ingredients, and therefore a certain forms of life come about here that are natural to form indigenously per that recipe of materials, if that makes sense. So you go to a different planet with a different collection of materials, it just makes sense. You're going to see a different evolution of entities based on those resources and all of that stuff. So the material stuff being of that material place, that part is the same. But what's different is the blueprint. So the blueprint is different in that in this sort of Akashic concept of evolution, the blueprint is not stored in the entity. The blueprint is actually everywhere because the blueprint is part of the Akashic record. And I find this intuitive, and it does seem like it would make sense because the Akashic record is, we're told, an information field. That is what it does. That's what it is. So the blueprints for the design of evolution, or for how a creature is going to evolve within its lifetime or whatever, that's information. So then it makes sense that it would be part of the Akashic record, and that would be the appropriate place for it, at least if you're thinking about it in esoteric terms. You're thinking about these kind of metaphysical or non-physical ideas. Okay, so let's take a quick example of what this would look like in nature. So take the material science version of a caterpillar. So the caterpillar has stored within it all of the information that guides the design of its form and what it eats and what it does and all of that. And then at a certain point in time, something is triggered within it which unlocks another aspect of the information about itself, and then it follows the guide of that internalness, makes itself a chrysalis, and then emerges later as a butterfly. And this is all recorded in the blueprint that is within the caterpillar when the caterpillar first emerges. And so presumably, if this caterpillar were to, let's say, have some sort of mutation where it didn't have this data block within it, that would mean that it would basically never become a butterfly. Okay, so that's the material version of it. So how does that compare with this Akashic version? Well, in this Akashic version, the material is the same. So there is the material, but when that material meets with the form of caterpillar, in other words, the blueprint that is within the Akashic record that is absolutely everywhere, the caterpillar takes form. So you can think of it almost like a recipe that is absolutely everywhere, and it's just waiting for the ingredients. And it doesn't matter where, it's infinitely everywhere. And as soon as you throw a collection of ingredients somewhere, this recipe is going to find that, and it is immediately going to take hold of it and start organizing it into a life form that the most optimal life form, I guess, from what can be made from those materials. And so in the case of the caterpillar, what would happen is the caterpillar would be a certain collection of materials, and the blueprint would find it, and the magic of nature. I don't want to take all the spiritual or metaphysical magic out of this. Whatever that magic is, magical component is also there to say it's time for a new caterpillar. And so then with that, there is you have a caterpillar, and so that those materials, by instruction of the blueprint, organize into the entity, and then the caterpillar is out there wandering around. So once it's doing that, the caterpillar naturally, intuitively eats what caterpillars eat and wanders around seeking for this, and it keeps eating, and it keeps eating, and it keeps getting fatter, and it keeps getting bigger, and it keeps amassing more and more and more and more material, specific material. It knows what to eat. Maybe it's not thinking through why. It might not have an elaborate diet schedule and plan and reasoning for why it does it, but intuitively it knows what it's supposed to eat, and it eats what it's supposed to eat. Part of the reason it eats what it's supposed to eat is because that is in the blueprint, that is in the Akashic record, that is everywhere, constantly, endlessly, always informing the caterpillar of what to eat and what to do and how to properly be organized in its form to stay together and be the life form that it is. So once it consumes a critical point or amount of these materials, what has now happened is the caterpillar, with all those new ingredients, with all that new stuff, with all that new size and mass, its form no longer is the best and most optimal match for the recipes in the recipe book of the Akashic record. So once the blueprint sees that the ingredients there is now a collection of ingredients that meets the requirements for a different life form, a more optimal life form, let's say, maybe that's the reasoning, a more optimal life form than the caterpillar, then the blueprint goes to work on that particular cocktail of ingredients. It's the instructions are there. So in this way, Different than the material science version, which would say the caterpillar knows to build the chrysalis because that's in a script somewhere within its body. Well, it's true it's inside its body. So it's true you might see some reflection or idea of this in the DNA. It might seem like the instructions are in there. Well, you might be able to find evidence that the instructions are in there. You should be able to find evidence that they're in there because the instructions are everywhere. They're absolutely everywhere. So if they are everywhere, then yeah, they're in your DNA. They're everywhere. But what this means in the case of the caterpillar is that it doesn't have to, never had the information blueprint uniquely to itself, contained inside its own programming, its own thing, its own world, its own blueprint, its own design. No, it's everywhere, and the design finds it. The design finds it, and when it finds that these materials are a better fit for a butterfly than a caterpillar, then what it's going to do is, as an intelligence, it also understands what the roadmap is, let's say the transitional process that goes from the form it's made with these ingredients to the form that it can make with the ingredients that's currently available, the new and better option. So it knows the pathway in between. So, is the caterpillar cognizant of what it's doing when it's making the chrysalis? Probably not. It's just, it's following the instruction that is in the record that is everywhere because the ingredients match, and that's what nature is doing. So once that kicks in, it doesn't know. It just starts making a chrysalis. It gets inside the chrysalis. It's in this nice little cozy cocoon, falls asleep, and surprise, now you're going to disintegrate into a soup. Yeah, maybe he wouldn't have made the chrysalis if he'd known he was going to be a soup, but that's what happened. Once he got there, he's a soup, and then once he's a soup, the blueprint can go to work on the raw ingredients, and that's exactly what it does. So there you go, esoteric idea, different model of evolution. Maybe it resonates, maybe it doesn't, but interesting. I find fascinating. I think when I look at nature, I try to observe what's out there, and I try to compare it to the two models. And I don't know, maybe it's hard to see that, but it seems to me that the edge goes to this. And this also solves some, I was about to wrap this up, let me just add that this also solves some of the puzzles regarding the material evolution theory. For example, evolutionary scientists they are often puzzled by the speed of evolution. Evolution seems to operate incredibly fast in terms of particularly adjusting to a big change in the ecosystem, a big change in the environment, for example. So what they would expect to see is a lot of lost life and a big cataclysm, let's say, and then a long time of adjustment and whatever, where many tiny mutations have to happen that are going to match the fit for the new environment that they're in order for life to blossom once again in this new place. But that's not what's observed. It's faster. It's just maybe not every time, but there are definitely puzzling cases looking back through our evolution where the speed accelerated with the life, and the life seemed to adjust so quickly to this new situation, and it seemed strange. It's a mystery. I don't know that this is the answer, but this idea does answer that, because according to this idea, the recipes are always everywhere all the time. And so the life didn't have to become what it was on that planet using 1 million tiny little mutations. It could come about very quickly simply as a result of having the correct set of ingredients. And when those ingredients change dramatically, quickly, because of some big event or whatever, it's not a problem as far as the cosmic machinations are concerned. That's not a problem. Something big happened that changed the collection of ingredients that are available, but no worries. There are plenty of recipes available for those ingredients too. And so as soon as there's a big, huge change, a new set of recipes takes action and starts to manifest that life that fits. It's smart. This is an intelligence. So this intelligence is not trying to make life that doesn't work. It's trying to make life that works. So when things change and whatever, then the blueprint goes with it, and we get more life. So anyway, yeah, there, little bonus bit there at the end. But yeah, Akashic Evolution, I dig it. Anyway, yeah, that's what I got for you. Godspeed, friends.